up? And if you're just joining us, the game of the night lived up in terms of drama in every way. Warriors, Rockets, Kevin Durant. We're going to pick it up here with this moment in the third quarter because it could change everything. Watch Durant looking back at his calf. It's a non-contact injury. That was sort of the universal signal that you usually get from guys. They feel like they got hit from behind in the bottom of the leg. That's frequently an Achilles injury, but there is no indication of that. It's been diagnosed as a calf strain. There'll be an MRI today. That will be critical. Meantime, he would leave the game and not return with his team up 3 and 14 minutes to play. And at that point, Steph Curry would take over. Steph doing what he does best, drilling the three, giving the Warriors a 1-point lead. And that's still in the fourth. Rockets down by 3. And here's Draymond Green drawing a charge on Chris Paul. But we got a little fireworks. That's Draymond getting a technical and probably deserved it, as he would give a little extra at the end of the play. Harden would make the technical free throw, but Draymond would make amends on the other end. Next possession, he drills a 3. The Warriors have a 5-point lead. Now here's the sequence that ends the game. Under a minute left. James Harden, who hadn't taken a shot in the final 9 minutes, going to the hole, finally gets that to go. He finishes with 31. It's a one-possession game with 18 seconds left, so they need to foul. Of course, they'll foul Klay Thompson right there. Well, hold on a minute. They're not fouling anybody. All right, now they're going to play defense. Now it looks like they're going to get the ball back. They trap Klay in the corner, but in the end, after a scrum, Thompson comes away with a dagger layup. And there'll be a lot of questions to be asked in the 2-minute report today. Klay Thompson appeared to step out of bounds before he got rid of this ball. Not called. Ball game over. Klay scored 27. Steph heroic. Warriors find a way to win 104-99 in a win that basically brings up more questions than answers. Because Game 6 is tomorrow night in Houston. Game 7, if necessary, is Sunday at Golden State. And Kevin Durant is a major question mark. Here's Vegas. They believe Kevin Durant is worth 4.5 points. According to the Westgate Superbook, the Warriors would be a 1.5-point underdog with him in Game 6, a 6-point underdog without him. Again, we don't have official word, but it does not appear as though he's going to play. And the other big game last night, disappointing does not begin to tell the story. For the story behind the Celtics and Kyrie. The Bucks rolling Boston by 25 points. Kyrie Irving shot 6 of 21. A fitting finale in a roller coaster of a season for the 26-year-old soon-to-be free agent. Let's hear from some folks.
Pretty effing good here. Not just this year, but for years to come.
We're lacking experience. We have a lot of learning to do.
I did a poor job of setting an example for these young guys. I had to call Bron. He's been there with me, where I've been the young guy.
Has your mindset shifted, though, in regards to re-signing?
Asked me July 1st. I spent the last 8 years trying to do what everybody else wanted me to do, and I don't owe anybody.
Two people talking, having a conversation. It's just stuff that just doesn't make the league fun.
I get tired of all this stuff because media has just gotten just outrageous.
I'm just happy that a lot of guys on this team got to experience what a sweep feels like. There's no extra burden. This is what I signed up for. Shots just didn't go in. There's no time to be disappointed. It's just moving on to the next thing and just seeing where that ends up.
A lot of words spoken over the course of a year involving Kyrie Irving. That season now comes to an end. Again, Jared Dudley is in with us today from the Brooklyn Nets, and Russillo was here, and you covered the Celtics and were close to them for years. And so I'll start with you, Ryan, just to sort of put you on the spot, making your best guess. When training camp rolls around next year, what team will Kyrie Irving be playing for?
Oh, so we're going which team now?
I mean, will it be Boston or not?
I don't think it will be, because I have to go by every indication he's given us. And, you know, all of those quotes that we just ran, and there's so many more from the season, he consistently distanced himself from everybody else. He tries to present it as a we thing, but he's saying, well, you know, people have to understand, or guys have to learn, or we need to do this and all this. And the guys in the locker room got sick of it. So I can understand Boston wanting to keep the asset, even though it didn't work this year. But I just don't know how you'd roll back. I don't know how you'd start the season up later this fall going, let's run this back with the same exact group.
Jared, I want to ask you this question, because we sometimes see these teams. There are two kinds of teams in the league. There are those that move the ball around and play what we would describe frequently as a really pretty brand of basketball. Right. And then there are the teams that play a lot of iso ball, and that can be very effective. I mean, Houston has ridden James Harden all the way to this point. But when a guy like Kyrie is just dribbling the air out of the ball, for lack of a better word. What does that do on the floor when those shots aren't falling? We see a lot of those teammates just kind of standing around. What is it like to be out there?
I mean, it can be deflating, especially if you're just sitting in the corner and you're not touching the ball. The thing about that, when you have a guy like Kyrie or a guy like Harden, you have to have a role player like a Draymond or even like a star like LeBron that gets everyone else involved. You just can't. And so the Celtics have a lot of one-on-one players. Now, when Kyrie was hurt and Gordon Hayward, those guys were playing more minutes. The ball was moving more, and everyone, they actually were, I mean, Tatum was a rookie at that time, so people were trying to find their roles. Now, you bring in guys like Gordon Hayward trying to find himself, someone like Kyrie who was ball dominant, less minutes for him, and now you guys only getting from 12 to 15 shots, you're getting 8 to 10 shots, man. Tension start flowing, then you start losing. It was difficult for them, but if I'm Boston, I'm trying to bring it back and try to add it. They have picks. They can trade. Boston's in a great situation. Need Kyrie.
They still have a great just cabinet of assets, as you point to. So I don't know if that would work. You would get some of the young guys away from Kyrie, and you hit the reset button
Will
around.
they trade some of that cabinet for Anthony
They
Davis?
would. Oh, yeah. No,
would they? Will they? Will Anthony Davis be a Celtic next year? He wants to be a Laker. I can't see any way that happens.
The father is more
right.
I mean, the father made the ridiculous statement that the Boston Celtics don't treat players well because they moved Isaiah Thomas, and they completely ignored the Lakers Lamar Odom story, which I thought was interesting. But if you do all the rumor stuff, right, all the guys you talk to, I'm going out to the Combine next week in Chicago, all the different stuff. When it was the Kyrie LeBron divorce, until I understood it better, I was like, man, look at Kyrie, look how difficult this guy is. Then you find out a little bit more, and you're like, actually, I'm taking Kyrie's side. Kyrie got everything he wanted in Boston. A model franchise, great ownership, great coach, great front office, all of these assets. You now get to be the man. You are unquestioned. The other stars defer to you. And now he doesn't want to do that there. And so if you went to New York, the other part of this, if you were, no offense to you guys, but if you went to the Knicks, people think, well, I don't know. If Durant goes there, could Kyrie really defer to this guy? I stopped trying to figure out Kyrie about February.
Are Kyrie and KD a good pair? I've heard some people say their games don't fit together that well because they both need the ball. Are they a good pair together?
For sure. They're a good pair because, for one, they're both superstars. They're friends, and so they understand it. Now, when it comes to their games, yes, they both need the ball, and that's why your role players will be crucial. But you're not having Tatum or Brown or Hayward that needs the ball, needs shots. And as you saw, I mean, KD has been willing to sacrifice some of his game for players. So it's Kyrie that, can his maturity handle the next step of, basically deferring to other superstar players.
Now, let me move on to something else here, because I'm old enough to remember when you played the Sixers in the playoffs. That was like all of a week and a half ago. So you know that team. They're playing for their season tonight. You'll see it on ESPN at home against Toronto. It's been a very strange series for Joel Embiid. And I know you got into it a little bit with him verbally and with Simmons verbally. As you've watched Embiid in particular in this series, what do you think we're seeing?
Well, the thing about the last basically month of the season, he was in and out. So when it comes from a conditioning standpoint, he's not where he was at in the beginning and the middle of the season when he was like an MVP caliber candidate. Then you deal with the injuries he's had with his calf and, questionable each and every game. The consistency level that I see is Marc Gasol is doing a great job one-on-one. They're very rarely having a double. He's shooting more threes. I actually think Philly's going to win tonight. It's hard to win in Philly. I think J.J. Redick, the role players, play better. I'm going to pick Toronto in 7, but he's got to get down that post, dominate Gasol, get a double, and hopefully Ben Simmons gives him something in transition, offensive rebounds, and help them out.
But let me go back to you on that. Because
not half court.
Jalen was talking about this at length yesterday, that when Embiid is down in the post, Simmons, because he either can't shoot but won't shoot one way or the other from the outside.
Right.
Maybe Jalen seems to be convinced that he can, and he just refuses to. That notwithstanding, that he thinks that's the reason that Embiid is playing out there. You just played them, and that puts Simmons down there where he's basically a non-factor in the dunker spot. Give me a sense of the defense against that and how that impacts what either of them is capable of doing.
For sure. They throw the ball post. He runs down to the dunker looking for offensive rebounds. For me, we used to try to double off him. We didn't have the personnel. Toronto has the personnel where they don't have to double. They don't have to sit down. Kawhi Leonard staying there to get something. So, yeah, he's got to find other ways. This is his development. He's got to find other ways to be a factor, setting screens and moving the ball. And this is something that he has to improve this summertime.
Be a factor. He's the number one pick in the draft. This is the conversation we're having. Set screens and move without the ball. Ryan, he's supposed to be a superstar.
It's tough because the first year you're going, this is going to be incredible when he figures this out. And the problem for him is when our expectations of you are that you could be one of the best players in this game, then we're ruthless when you have one bad playoff game.
Sure.
We're doing it to all the superstars in this league other than KD and Kawhi and probably Giannis right now. But when it's the exact same thing, it's the same limitations. Like one thing, Jared, when I look at him, I don't think he understands spacing because he knows he can't stand outside. So when you would play against him and he'd bring his defender into Embiid, wasn't he doing you guys a favor?
He definitely is doing us a favor. And the thing about Simmons is, man, he has to get better. The game slows down in the playoffs. We all know that. The defenses get better. He's going against Siakam and Kawhi Leonard. Those are one of the best defensive players. And so this is where you go in the summertime. How do I improve my game? And he has all the tools to do that.
We'll see if they can do it tonight. Again, Jared Dudley says he thinks they keep their season alive tonight. You'll see it on ESPN. Meanwhile, coming up here on Get Up, as LeBron James tries to get stars to join him in L.A., could the Lakers seriously entertain the thought of trading him? Stephen A. on that next.